We are excited to welcome SimonTBailey to EFM to share his insight on how to release your brilliance. Did I say that right? That was the right way? Simon's resume and experience is one heck of a highlight reel. He is a keynote speaker, a success coach, an author, and a television host. Simon transformed his life from college dropout and night clerk at the Days Inn to a summa cum laude master's degree and a senior manager at the Walt Disney Company before becoming a Hall of Fame keynote speaker. Simon has spoken to over 2,000 companies in 50 countries and has videos that have garnered over 90 million views. He is an author of 7 books and delivers practical strategies that have a positive impact. Plus, I gotta tell you, he gives Calvin a run for his money as the best smile in the room. So EFM, please join me in welcoming SimonTBailey.
Brilliance is your insight. It is your potential. It is your genius. There are 19,200 daily moments. Moments create momentum, and momentum creates monumental results. So if you can begin to see, begin to think, begin to believe, you can create it. Failure is not final, failure is only feedback. But you gotta let go of what has got you here because it won't get you there. Sometimes you can be born into a physical zip code, but you have to relocate your mental zip code.
A breakthrough strategist and an innovator.
He's a keynote speaker, of course, 1,500 organizations, 2 million people, 45 countries.
Men and women that love what they do every single day. They have happiness in their eyes. They have joy in their heart.
What sets Simon apart is his ability to see the brilliance within you.
You are not a commodity. You are absolutely brilliant. You were never hired to do a job. You were hired to release your brilliance. It's not about making an impression, but it is about leaving an imprint.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. Join me in welcoming to the stage, SimonTBailey!
I have finally made it to Enterprise. Cyrus, you're gonna have to give me a job, man. Wow. Let me just start with, I sat there listening to Amy and David and Simon and Young, and can we just give it up for them again? That was just like, wow, thank you. 35 years ago, Mom and Dad loaded the station wagon and drove me and my brother from Buffalo, New York, down to Atlanta, Georgia, where they dropped me off at Morehouse College. And at the end of my freshman year at Morehouse, they called and said, we don't have the money to send you back to Morehouse, nor do we have money to bring you back home to Buffalo, but we do love you. How many realize I didn't quite feel the love? So I dropped out of Morehouse, moved into a drug-infested community in the southwest part of Atlanta, Georgia, only had a mattress on the floor, bright green beanbag from the 70s, a couple of milk crates turned over with a black and white TV on top of it with a hanger hanging out of the back of the TV with a piece of aluminum foil wrapped around the hanger. How many have a visual so far? It's probably one of the lowest points in my life. I was so broke I walked past the bank and tripped the alarm. I mean, it was just sad. And I got a job working at a hotel and transferred my 1-year credits from Morehouse to Georgia State University. Took me 10 years to finish my undergrad degree, and my parents said, it took you 10 years to finish your degree. I said, because you didn't pay. But I love you. So, so fast forwarding, ended up moving to Orlando, Florida, where I live today. My wife, Jody, and I, we have 4 children from 20 to 27, and about 9 months ago, we welcomed into the world our first grandchild. Her name is Halo, and thank you. I told them they can't call me granddad, I'm G-Pop. So every single day, a lot of people often ask me, how in the world did you get into this line of work? So I'm gonna share a little backstory, then we're gonna have a little fun. December 10, 2001, I'm sitting at my desk at the happiest place on earth, that being the Walt Disney World Resort. And whenever you work at Disney, you never talk to the media unless authorized. So I get a call from a journalist, and he says, where do you see yourself 10 to 15 years from now? And I said, well, I see myself as the president and CEO of the Walt Disney World Resort, and eventually the chairman and CEO of the Walt Disney Company, and he puts this in print. So, true story, the article comes out, page 12, Florida Business Trend magazine, February 2002. Still Google it to this day. And my boss calls me in the office, and he's like, what were you thinking when you did this interview? And I said, Larry, I work at this company whose motto is, if your heart is in your dreams, no request is too extreme, for when you wish upon a star, it makes no difference who you are, but obviously it does here. It's funny today, it was not funny then. Anybody ever seen the movie Clear and Present Danger? Anybody ever seen that movie? There's a scene in the movie where Harrison Ford walks into the office of the president. The president says, you're going to take that chip and put it in your back pocket, and I'll cash it in when your butt's on the line. So I get a call from one of the senior VPs who's my executive sponsor and mentor, and he said, this is really bad. Do you need me to go to the president on your behalf to save your job? And I said, Jim, how bad is it? He's like, dude, if this article would have come out before the markets closed, people would say, who's this guy that's in line to be president at Disney? I'm like, no, don't go to him. So y'all see where this is going, right? HR shows up, asks me to sign a little piece of paper that went into my personnel file, and let's just say Disney didn't fire me that day. But about a year later, I heard the footsteps coming, and they were not singing, It's a Small World After All. So for the last 20 years, I have been a 100% commission salesperson. And I've gone back to Disney many times to speak, and I run into several Disney colleagues. And what I decided to do, I cashed in my entire 401k with significant Disney stock, took out a line of credit on the house, turned down 2 vice president's jobs to do what I absolutely love, and I'm so honored that I get to serve you today. So here's the first big thing I want you to think about. In the future, you will be paid for the difference you make and the experience you create. And individuals like all of you every single day in enterprise fleet management who love what you do. How many of you, by show of hands, love what you do? Love what you do. Now, if your boss is at your table, just put 2 hands up, right? I love it. I love it. Do y'all mind if I come off this stage? Because this curtain behind me, I think I have to smile for y'all to see me. So, it was right there. It was right there. So, come out and hang out with y'all. How you doing, Connie? I'm Simon. Nice to meet you. So, over the last few years, everything that we have learned, 2,000 organizations, I have discovered after interviewing the best of the best, is that those who thrive and really understand how to take care of their customers, they have a mindset. And this mindset that they have simply says, if I hear it, I own it. The second part of that is they understand that a job is what you're paid to do, but release your brilliance is what you're made to do. And when I talk about brilliance, brilliance is your insight, it's your potential, it's your genius. So it doesn't matter what you have been through to get to this point. Whatever you have been through to get to enterprise, enterprise is the place where absolutely you get to be your most brilliant self because you are the best. Are you the best? And because you're the best, you work with the best. Do you work with the best? And because you work with the best and you're in the best company in the world, let me just pause and just say this. Cyrus was asking me early how many presentations we do, and we have already booked 100 presentations this year and probably have about another 30 to go. And I'm inside of organizations all the time. And as I've been sitting here, I have heard for well over a decade about the enterprise culture. But to be here today to hang out, I'm like, these guys are like the real deal. Like, y'all are not phoning it in. Like, this is like the real deal. And I'm like, I can't tell you how many companies I go to where people have settled for a chair, a check, and a cup of coffee and woke up and said, I'm just a bill. Well, I'm only a bill, and I'm sitting here in Capitol Hill, right? And what I realized, they work hard enough to do a job and they do just enough to keep from getting fired. But when individuals have that mindset, they're absolutely lit up. And it's not about what they're getting in the form of Benjamins, it's about who they're becoming. And when I understand how to become my most brilliant self, and I work in an organization where you are celebrated rather than tolerated, the organization, Enterprise Fleet Management, invites you to be the best version of yourself. And when you understand how to be the best version of yourself, you have that mindset that is absolutely amazing. Here's the other thing that I've learned just in observing you. Customer service is a department, but customer love is a mindset. I need y'all to do something with me. Is it okay if I say y'all? If it's okay if I say y'all? I was in Texas last week, so I said y'all. Deep in the heart of Texas. All right. Everybody get your hands up like this, and I want you to watch me. On 3, I want you to say customer love, all right? I want you to put a little oomph in it. I want you to do it like you was booking and jooking last night at the concert, all right? On 3, customer love. 1, 2, 3. That's what we do at Enterprise Fleet Management. We create customer love. Now, why is customer love important? Because everything that you are about, you create a culture, not just a goal. Yes? Culture lives in the head. Everybody say head. Heart. Hands. When culture lives in the head, the heart, the hands, what you discover is that a brand in this noisy economy where businesses have choices, a brand is an emotion. Everybody say emotion. Connection. Perception. Moment. Memory. That's who you are. That's what you do. That's how you roll. To borrow a line from Florida Georgia line. Y'all didn't know a brother knew a little country, huh? Anyway. Connie, this is my first rodeo. You know I don't get out much. So you're probably saying, Simon, why is this mindset important right now? Let me give you the research. Salesforce says that businesses prefer to work with sales reps that understand their business goals and their business, okay? And that's something that all of you do really well. But let me tell you what's happening in the real estate industry right now. Real estate professionals who have sold like they have always sold now see their market share being taken away by Redfin, HomeSmart, Compass, because a consumer that's selling a house doesn't have to connect with a person. Just with a touch and a swipe, they can sell or buy a house. They might go and see it, but they'll look at it online. So what real estate or realtors are now doing, they are doubling down to up the ante on how do I create that connection and that client experience that this person can't get anywhere else. So I'm always top of mind. I'm also noticing this in SaaS companies, SaaS, which is subscription as a service. So Thomson Reuters, they're a SaaS company. And what they recognize in their business analytics, business intelligence, how do they know about the businesses that they are dealing with now more than ever before to create an experience for them that is second to none? In the hospitality industry, now that the world has opened back up, meetings and conventions went away for a couple of years. So now what hospitality companies are doing, if a meeting professional says, hey, we're going to bring our meeting to your hotel, they want to find out Garrett, what do I know about you? Garrett, raise your hand. This is Garrett. I don't want y'all to think I'm talking to my imaginary friend. Who's Garrett? I don't know Garrett. I don't see Garrett. Here's Garrett. So Garrett, what they're doing is, let's say, Garrett, you love Diet Coke. And if they find out that little piece of intel about you, Garrett, what they're doing, they're like, oh, snap, we gonna hook Garrett up. So I was working with a hotel company not too long ago. The client loved Diet Coke. And when they walked into the ballroom, because the client had already looked at 10 other locations, they had a pyramid of Diet Coke. And who do you think that client signed with? All because that mindset to say, how do I have the culture that looks at what we do every single day in a fresh way? I'm gonna show a video, and on the other side of the video, I want you to just shout at me, what did you see? But let me set the video up. This gentleman's gonna tell a story about a brand that he thought he didn't know anything about, but they knew about him and created a moment for him. I believe our greatest opportunity, especially after everything that we've heard the last few days, how do we as enterprise fleet management, CSMs, AEs, how do we, now more than ever before, create moments that matter because we have that mindset?
In the world I live in today, I feel very strongly that culture is more powerful than strategy. As we head towards recovery, far too many organizations are obsessed with strategy. And when I say culture, I mean the way we get things done around here. A couple of weeks ago, I traveled to LA, to the Beverly Wilshire Hotel. And you know, the best hotels in the world, what they do brilliantly is they make the check-in process just disappear. So I'm coming in with my bags, I'm really tired, I know I've got a board rehearsal in 2 hours. All that's on my mind is we're rehearsing in 2 hours. Somehow the doorman takes my bags and probably sees a luggage tag, and before I know it, I get to the desk and just signed here, welcome back to Beverly Wilshire Hotel, Mr. Carroll. Well, it stunned me, because I've never stayed at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel. I said, I'm very sorry, I've never stayed here. And she went click, 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 click on it, and she said, June 1988, you were with a group of 12 from Marks and Spencer, who I happened to be working for at the time. Now that just knocked me out. And I said, you know what, that's what I call service. And she said, you're so pleased, you look so pleased, I'm going to upgrade you to a suite. So I'm winning. I go upstairs to my suite, and I'm going to have a shower, get changed, and go and moderate this board rehearsal. But before I do, I tweet. I just tweeted the experience to the very few people that follow me. I said, that's what I call service. Jumped in the shower, came out. As I picked up my iPhone, there's a tweet back. It's from Ben Dodds, General Manager, Beverly Wilshire Hotel. Thank you ever so much for that fabulous comment. In fact, I'll come and find you and thank you in person. I thought, I've never seen that happen before, where you tweet something into the ether and an organization is so agile, so focused on the customer, so customer-centric. I disappear to our rehearsal. We're an hour in, and I call a 5-minute natural break. Can we change the black coffees? Can we change the water? The hotel staff come in their black uniforms with Beverly Wilshire Hotel on the front, and they change away, and someone takes my black coffee, and he puts a bottle of Dom Perignon champagne in front of me. I said, I'm really sorry, thanks for the offer, but I just wanted a black coffee. He said, Ben Dodds, General Manager, Beverly Wilshire Hotel, thank you so much for the tweet this morning. Now, that just does it. Is that culture? Is that training? Is that process? Is that procedure? Is that KPI? It's culture. The epilogue to this is that by the time I get back to London, I've got a ton of tweets coming through commenting about this. There's one guy who comments, he says, I've been staying at the same hotel in London for the last 6 years. Every week for the last 6 years, I turn up on a Monday to the same hotel. I get a slightly different experience. They ask me every Monday, have you stayed here before, sir?
So what you guys hear? Culture, right? Culture is everything. Culture is the differentiator. What you have more than anyone else that has allowed you to succeed and thrive is how you do everything. Where is Cameron? Cameron Yinakata? Is Cameron here at all? I don't. Hey, Cameron.
How are you, Simon?
I'm great. You're probably wondering where this is going. Cameron, first of all, I want to salute you because I read a story that you sent out a video email to everyone end of the year, thanking everybody for their hard work. You specifically identified team members with specific wins. But Cameron, you didn't stop there. You sent an email out to the group department heads, thanking them for supporting the business and giving them an update of the achievements in the year. And when I read that, it was like something went off in my head. I was like, what? What? Who does that? I said, wait a minute. That's what Cameron does, and that's enterprise fleet management. So on 3, I want you to clap once for Cameron. 1, 2, 3. That's who you are. That's what we do. And I want us thinking, how do we continue to amp up those things that separate us from everyone else? So here's the question. With everything that we've heard over the last few days, what can we do to take action? What's the one thing that's percolating? Real quick, I want you to find somebody to pair off with that you're sitting next to, and I want you to share with them 30 seconds or less. What can you do to take action? What's the one thing that you can do to take action and have the mindset that allows us to be purposeful and to have passion? Go. 30 seconds. Ten seconds. Okay, if you hear my voice, clap once. Hear my voice, clap twice. All right, here's the deal. Whoever you shared with, you're now each other's accountability partner. And here's what this looks like. Here's what this looks like. Over the next 6 weeks, I want you to connect with each other once a week, 5 minutes, and say, how's it going? Did you take action? All right. Now, when you see their number coming through the caller ID, don't let it go to voicemail. All right. All right. Now, I want to build on this. After we think about mindset, the next thing we have to think about is skill set. Everybody say skill set. LinkedIn has identified 5 skills that are critically needed by high-performing professionals between now and 2025. As you know, LinkedIn has about 775 million people on their platform. The top 5 skills: number 1, creativity; number 2, adaptability; number 3, collaboration; number 4, persuasion or storytelling; and number 5, emotional intelligence. I want to drop a pin in adaptability and persuasion and storytelling. Adaptability, according to the science of adaptability, is the opportunity to notice a change and to develop the capability to adapt. In other words, it's letting go of what Dr. Carol Dweck teaches at Stanford University, that fixed mindset. This is the way it's always going to be. So individuals who are able to be skillful in the midst of change, they adapt very quickly. They're looking for that opportunity. So then let me talk about storytelling or persuasion. Facts tell, stories sell. And when we have the ability, and Garrett, I'm gonna use you as an example. I know I might have to send you a little check afterward. Do you take Monopoly money, Garrett? So, storytelling is, Garrett, if I am connecting with you for the first time, How do I begin to understand when I adapt to who you are and where you are, I listen with my eyes, I listen with my ears, and I begin to understand the same letters that spell the word listen, spell the word silent. When I am truly listening to you, Garrett, I am listening beyond the words and I'm listening between the sentences. When I do that, you know that I am honoring you and I'm not just trying to sell you something, because I understand, Garrett, how to be a friend, not just a vendor. And when I understand how to be a friend, I begin to recognize that when you sell, that's a transaction, but when you connect, that's a relationship. So how do I begin to relate to the cargo in your ship? So this gentleman that you see in this photo, his name is Michael Hanley. And Garrett, my old boss at Disney, calls me a few years ago and he says, Simon, you gotta go to lunch with Michael. And I'm like, oh snap, Michael is an insurance guy, he's gonna try to sell me. So I call Michael, and Michael says, meet me at the Bay Hill Country Club. And I'm like, huh? The Bay Hill Country Club, built by Arnold Palmer? Absolutely, free lunch, I'm there. So I show up on this particular day looking casket sharp. Okay, some of y'all might not get that. Garrett, I showed up in my Sunday's best. Does that translate? Everybody got that? Now let me just test. How many got the casket sharp reference? Oh, okay, all right. These are my people. I know y'all tracking with me. So Garrett, I'm sitting there with Michael and we're just kind of catching up. And Garrett, I noticed this gentleman sitting in the corner, hunched over. I said, that's Arnold Palmer. So being the bashful person that I am, I get up, I walk over to Arnold Palmer. I said, Mr. Palmer, thank you for being a great American. Thank you for what you done for the game of golf. And I proceed to take my phone out to take a selfie with Arnold Palmer. And this entourage behind him starts to close in. And I heard the soundtrack in my head, Josh, bad boys, what you gonna do when we come for you? I said, you know what? I might want to put my phone back. So I go and I'm sitting with Michael. He's turned flush red. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, he says, there are no phones allowed in the club, let alone to take a picture with Arnold Palmer. I said, Michael, I didn't get out much. You know, who would know the guy from Buffalo, New York would be sitting here in your prestigious country club? I didn't know. We laughed it off that day. And Michael didn't try to sell me insurance. A couple of weeks go by, and Chris, I'm on stage, I'm speaking at an event, and the host, Connie, says, you can't leave the stage. I'm like, why can't I leave the stage? And she reaches into this bag, pulls out a hat from the Bay Hill Country Club that has been signed by who? I didn't know Michael was in the audience that day. And he came up afterward, and we took this picture. And we reminisced about how I totally young embarrassed myself that day at the club. And still, Garrett, he didn't try to sell me insurance. A couple months go by, and unfortunately, Arnold Palmer passes away. And Michael and I are on the phone, and we're just, reliving the whole Arnold Palmer experience. And that day, Garrett, I bought not one, not two, but 3 life insurance policies from Michael. Why did I do it? Because Michael was not an insurance salesperson. He was a person who understood how to personalize the moment and create a moment that was second to none. Well, I'm forever grateful because during the pandemic, in the heart of it, I lost 7 figures worth of business in literally 7 days. And Michael calls me to say hi, how's it going? How are you doing? And I'm just like bawling. I mean, now let me tell you why my situation was so jacked up, okay? I was married for 25 years, went through a divorce, and I pay significant alimony. 2 kids in college, and I pay for college, and it's real. And so all of a sudden, I'm like, oh snap, I might have to go back to Mickey and say, Mickey Mouse, can you give me back my job? In other words, can you hook a brother up? Michael calls me and says, Simon, I want to introduce you to a couple of my friends. And he introduces me to his CEO Rolodex. His friends hired me, and we were able to get through the time. And what I realized is that Michael had become my friend. Michael personalized an experience for me that I'm forever grateful. But when I was talking with Cyrus, I said, I know that's how y'all roll here at Enterprise Fleet Management. That's what y'all do. Where's Kelly Walker? Where's Kelly Walker at? Kelly, you gotta stand. So Kelly, I'm reading the story about how you do business. You know your clients so well, the CEOs, the CFOs, you know their birthdays, you know the name of their spouses, you know their children and their grandchildren. You probably know the name of the dog, the cat, and the niece, right? But what's so powerful about that, and Cyrus, this is what really impacted me, is when the CEO lost their grandchild, you every year on the date of that passing, there's a donation made to the foundation in the name of that grandchild, commemorating that, hey, we're Enterprise Fleet Managers. This is not just about what you do with us and have done for over a decade. This is about our relationship. This is about we personalize the experience because we care about you. On 3, everybody clap once for Kelly. 1, 2, 3. Booyah! That's what we do. Let me give you the research real quick, and then I want you to do a quick exercise. According to McKinsey Consulting, McKinsey says brands and businesses that personalize the experience give a 1 to 2% lift in sales, and they reduce their marketing expenses, all because the personalization is the breakthrough. It's the thing that differentiates you. So here's what I want us to do. Let's have a little fun. At your tables, point to who will be the leader at the table. Real quick, point to who will be the leader at the table. All right? Very good, very good. Okay, leader at the table, raise your hand, leader at the table. All right, put your hand on the shoulder of the person next to you. That is the new leader of the table. A little trickery. Okay, all right, real quick. Leader at the table, your responsibility is to lead your group through this discussion, answering this question. What can we do to wow our customers? What can we do? And everybody at the table has to share 30 seconds or less. What can you do to wow our customers now more than ever before? Go. Do we have 1 or 2? We have 1. One on the side, one on the side, one on the side. 2 minutes. What's her name?
Sarah.
1 minute, 1 minute. Okay, if you can hear my voice, clap once. Hear my voice, clap twice. Okay, Mallory is on this side, Sarah is on this side. I want a few volunteers real quick to share what you heard at your tables or what you're doing. So I need a couple of volunteers real quick. Raise your hand. Mallory's on this side, Sarah's on this side. All right, don't all speak at once. All right, tell us your name and where you're from.
My name is Jorge Flores, and I'm from Tampa.
Okay.
Let's go. Our group said that listening and creating a moment was going to be really important. But something you said earlier in your speech, if you hear it, you own it. So if you hear an opportunity to create that moment, own it and make it happen.
Awesome. On 3, 1, 2, 3. Booyah. This side.
Hi, my name's Alex Lopez, 2FL5, and we said the same thing. We said listen. And we just talked about how if you make it a personal experience and throughout that different process, you hear little things that you can use to really wow your customers and create those memories.
Awesome. On 3, 1, 2, 3. I want to double click on what each of them said. Did you pick up on the power of listening? Yes? All right. Here's a key takeaway. There's a difference between selective hearing and authentic listening. When I have authentic listening, I'm releasing the need, Bo, to be right. Even though I know what I know, but I'm open to what is being said for what we discover in the process, okay? All right, let me have a couple more volunteers. Who else? Right up front, all right, right here. You got your own fan club.
Yeah, I know this group listens really, really closely to what you say. But I think that's what I was going to say, really intentional. And we talked about being proactive, not waiting until it's somebody's birthday or something that's easy like that, but trying to get ahead of.
Okay. Brandon, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So when you say proactive, why is that important? I love that. Let's just drop a pin. Why proactivity?
It's unexpected. It's not something that maybe that everybody else does.
Yes, awesome. On 3, 1, 2, 3. Thank you, Brandon. All right, right here.
Randy. So our group talked about being very intentional about having non-business conversations, getting to know our customers, building a relationship, and then storing that information so that we can refer back to it later.
Awesome, Randy. On 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, so here's the deal. Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Brandon. You've heard what others are doing. You shared what you are doing. The skill I want us to embrace now more than ever before is how do we storytell and pick up on these little factoids, make a note of that, and use that. I love what you said. It's not always the business of business. It's the personal. And here's why. When people know, like, and trust, they become your unofficial marketing department. They do. Because they know that you know them. So I want you to think about this. Something that I'm seeing with a lot of companies and organizations right now, they are using AI. There's a website called Crystal Knows. Anybody ever heard of Crystal Knows, just out of curiosity? Okay, so a couple people. Here's what this looks like. If you have a prospect or customer that has ever taken Myers-Briggs, DISC, Enneagram, LinkedIn profile, this personality AI can literally tell you how to speak to them when you speak to them. For those in the back, I'm going to tell you what this says. So if you want to speak to Ellie, set clear expectations for the conversation. When emailing Ellie, write 3 sentences or less. When working with Ellie, do homework. do send a reminder. When selling to Ellie, ask for permission before calling, all right? And it comes naturally to Ellie to appreciate a list of facts more than a story, approach problems, pause a conversation to correct something, and feel annoyed by an exaggeration. Now, so what I'm seeing in some sales organizations, and Crystal knows actually integrates with Salesforce, is this ability to have this intel to not just communicate, but to connect. And I just share that with you to share, here's where some other organizations are going, this is what they're doing, okay? Now, something else that I wanna highlight. Where is, and I have to look at my notes here because I wanna make sure I don't get this name messed up. Where's Brian Linehan at? Where's Brian Linehan? Hey, Brian, can you stand up for a second? Brian, you got it going on so much, I had to make sure I write this down and not butcher this. You are known as the man to have a plan and stick with it. Is that right? Yes. Brian, where you back up, man? Where you back up? This is yes. But Brian, here's what I appreciate about you, sir. Not only do you embody a plan and you stick with it, but you are very particular about quality touch, having a quality touch call plan. You are consistent with it, and you are very proactive, you and your team, in looking at ways to improve the execution. Because it's not the quantity, it's the quality of the call. And then every Monday, all right, every Monday, you review the touch call notes and showcase what a great conversation looks like from the prior week. And it's because of that brilliance that you and your team bring to have a plan and stick to it. You're kicking butt and taking names, all right? On three, clap once, 1, 2, 3. Thank you, Brian. So here's the deal. I have interviewed top financial advisors. Top financial advisors, they have a plan, they have a strategy, and they execute. That's their secret sauce. They have a plan, they have a strategy, and they execute. Pat Massetti, a friend of mine in Australia, says, Tom, if it's foggy in here, it's cloudy out here. So this ability to say, how do I ensure that I'm planning every single day for where I'm going, all right? I want to move to our final point, and after you take action, I want to talk about willpower. And willpower is really understanding how do I show up every single day to not only be an employee that has complete satisfaction in loving what you do, but doing the work, working on yourself every single day. Did y'all pick up in the stories how each person, be it Amy or David or Simon or Young, they did the work on themselves? My father, who was an immigrant from Jamaica 60 years ago, picked oranges in Mount Dora, Florida, moved up to Perry, New York, and my dad told me, Garrett, the best hand that will feed you is the one at the end of your wrist. And when he said it, I was like, whoa. And what I am recognizing right now, there are 3 things that individuals who are high performers are doing right now. Number 1, they are an intrapreneur. An intrapreneur challenges themselves every single day to say, is this the highest and best use of my time? Is what I'm doing, am I being busy or am I being effective? So it's not just what your title is as a CSM or an AE, it's to look at that in fleet management, I do X, but how do I do X plus? Not because anyone asked me to do it, but because I'm an intrapreneur and I'm challenging myself to understand that leaders are readers and readers are leaders. The second thing that I'm noticing is that they have this ability to build teamwork throughout the organization, and because of that relationship, things move quicker, faster. So all of y'all coming together, you know each other at some level, but meeting and reconnecting, and you talk on the phone, double down on leveraging the intel from your team members now more than ever before, because that's how you continue to kick butt and take names. But here's the third thing that I'm discovering. Teams that really focus on how do we get better by challenging each other to have that tough conversation. So Garrett, if you and I work together and I dropped the ball or I didn't do something that I know that I needed to do, and because we're safe enough not to feel, threatened, Garrett's just trying to take me out. No, you're giving me feedback to help me become better. And listen to this, failure's not final, failure's only feedback. And feedback is the breakfast of champions. So what you're inviting me, Garrett, to do is to begin to look at my plan, stick to it, and I don't know about you, the last time I looked in the dictionary, planning comes before success. So when I am intentional about planning, I'm thinking about how am I showing up every single day. So after mindset, skill set, it's all about willpower. And where is Eddie Simon? Eddie Simon. Eddie, can you stand up? I almost said, Eddie, I want to talk to you, Eddie. Eddie, how often do you get that? You get that all the time. So Eddie, what I so appreciate about your willpower, sir, is that you are passionate about ensuring that you close the gap of professional development with everyone on the team. In fact, you have daily motivation moments that you create. And what I so value about you as an employee in enterprise fleet management is you're constantly looking at ways to understand that if we are going to be purposeful and passionate, we must also learn, unlearn, and relearn. Let me say it to you a different way, Eddie. Eric Hoffer, a noted philosopher, says, in times of change, the learners will inherit the earth, while the unlearned will find themselves beautifully equipped to live in a world that no longer exists. And what you have decided to do is that we are not only going to kick butt and take names and drive success, but we're going to learn how to be better than yesterday. And so I appreciate your commitment. Do you have a podcast yet? Do we, Cyrus, do we have a podcast in enterprise fleet management?
We will now.
We will. So, because I was looking at this, right? And I'm saying, Eddie, if you're already motivating everybody, what would it be like to create a podcast where everybody throughout the enterprise fleet management could literally begin to drink from the well of your inspiration? Yeah, absolutely. And here's the power of this. One more thing. When you begin to share the story and the success of the CSMs and the AEs, those who are new coming into the enterprise fleet management, because y'all know we about to double in a few years up in here, right? I want to see some yes. They get to listen to the podcast to hear the stories. Now I'm freewheeling right now. What would it be like to hear on a podcast Simon Ortega, your story? What would it be like to hear Amy's story and Young, your story, and David's story in the podcast? Dave, you can sit down. You can sit down, Eddie. I'll send you a little check a little later on. But here's the deal. Here's the deal, family. That's willpower. I share that with you because the other piece I want to just tie in together is that leadership matters. The job of a leader in this noisy economy where people have been overwhelmed by a terabyte of information, the job of a leader, Kirby, is to invite people on a journey. There's that word, journey. Invite people on a journey to discover the leader within themselves while they're following you. All of you in this room are leaders because somebody is following you somewhere. Where are you taking them? Because leadership is caught and leadership is taught. Family? Can I say family? Cyrus, is that all? Can I say family? Where's Bryce at? Where's Bryce at? Can I say family? Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. So family, what we are about is making each other better than the day before. I stand here today because somebody helped me become better. A few years ago, I was speaking to 4,000 general managers of Hilton Corporation. And Garrett, I started telling the story about when I had dropped out of school, this general manager gave me a shot. And I didn't know he was in the room. Well, let me just take you into the experience. This is totally unplanned. This is Ian Sauer. This is SimonTBailey. When I dropped out of school and I was looking for a job, I did go back to school, got my undergrad, got my master's degree. It was this guy who 28 years ago gave me a shot, who gave me a job, took me from the Days Inn, and when I was offered a job to go and work at the Ritz-Carlton Buckhead in 1987, I turned the job down because I didn't want to leave this general manager. Y'all have to excuse me. Y'all have to excuse me. But it was Ian Sauer who took me from the Days Inn to the Comfort Inn. And I followed him and Jan Bateman wherever they went because they created a moment for me as an employee. And Ian, I would not be the man that I am today at 49 years of age if you didn't make me a better front desk clerk. Thank you. Thank you. So family, everything that we do every single day is to make each other better. Here's what I'd like to do. At your tables, just one more time, I'd like for you to go around the table and just share with everyone what has been your biggest takeaway from the time together, that takeaway that really matters to you. And I want y'all to just lean in and just listen to what each person shares. And whatever you share, I also want you to be thinking, how do I now wow my clients, my customers, now more than ever before, with the passion and the purpose, and to continue to celebrate them on this journey. So I'm going to give you just a couple of minutes at your table to share your one big takeaway, and then we'll come back together. Go.
Just in case, we've got about 7 minutes.
Perfect. Reby?
R-E-B-Y, Reby, Alex Reby.
Yeah, Reby.
Reby.
Take about a minute to wrap up. Minute to wrap up. Okay, if you can hear my voice, clap once. Hear my voice, clap twice. All right. A few key takeaways, and then I want to share a couple of stories with you. The first takeaway, as it relates to mindset, always remember it's not who you are that holds you back, it's who you think you're not that holds you back. And sometimes we focus on who we think we're not instead of who we are. The second thing I want to invite you to consider, and if you have something to write with or capture this on your smartphone, please write down 15-7-30-90. The formula is 15-7-30-90. By the way, family, if you play these numbers tonight and they hit, don't forget about your new BFF, all right? I want you to send me a little something, something. All right. Starting tomorrow morning, and I know that the weekend is upon us, starting tomorrow morning, I want to invite you to get up 15 minutes early. And take that 15 minutes and chunk it down in the first 5 minutes to meditate, second 5 minutes to read or listen to something that inspires you, third 5 minutes to stretch and get aligned with the day. Here's what I've discovered. How you start the day determines the day. 15 minutes a day creates 7 days a week. 7 days a week creates 30 days. 30 days creates 90 days. So if you ever wonder, how did I get to this quarter? What have I been doing the last 30, 60, 90? How did I get there? What have I been doing the last 7 days? How did I get there? 15 minutes a day. Now, I know you're in the room. Where are all my night owl folks? All my night owl folks. All right. So night owl family, 15 minutes before your head hits the pillow. Okay? But it's mastering that 15 minutes to say, this is how I'm going to get better every day. All right? Where is Alex Reby? Alex Reby. Where's Alex at? Alex, can you stand, sir, please? All right? Alex. First of all, you turned around your ESQ scores that was the lowest in the company to one of the highest in the company. All right? You knew there was a lot coming to you because of industry challenges. You recognized it. You and your team focused on what was the role in turning this around, and you created 3 key areas that would be great in order to turn it around. You improved team communication, teamwork, and clarity for each team on 3. Clap once. 1, 2, 3. Enterprise family, that's who we are. That's what we do. We never settle. We never play second fiddle. We are the best. We work with the best. We serve the best. A man was having a reoccurring dream of a ferocious lion chasing him. So Kirby and Connor, whenever he would have this dream, he would take off running. And one day he went to see a counselor, and the counselor says, the next time you have the dream, I want you to stop, face the lion, look the lion in the eye, and ask the lion, who are you? Why are you chasing me? So Garrett, a couple of weeks goes by, and this guy has this reoccurring dream of the ferocious lion chasing him. So he takes off running. And Kelly, it dawns on him what the counselor says, so he stops, turns around, faces the lion, looks the lion in the eye, and says, who are you? Why are you chasing me? And the lion said, I am your strength and courage. Why are you running from me? I leave you with that thought. Thank you, family.